134, the very last paragraph. Therefore, when you are practicing the wisdom of the supramundane world, although you cannot rely on the wisdom of offering, you can still rely on the wisdom that arose. So therefore, you have to apply both wisdom and method at the same time. When you are entering deep into samatha, we cannot make an offering. And that's why people who believe that samatha practice is everything, they could also believe that they don't need to be generous. Although they think so, however, the 6 parameters, the precepts, patience, the discipline, offering, and also the dhyana and samadhi, all of those practices, they act as a basis to enter into the samadhi. Can I get some cold water? So that's why when you are entering into the samatha, only with samatha, well, getting rid of our greediness, that is the act of the bodhisattva. But without practicing the act of bodhisattva, without practicing the offering, it's difficult to go into samatha. And also after the samatha is completed or cultivated, or even with vipassana, even when you are putting your practice for the betterment of all sentient beings, you still follow the 6 parameters. It itself is and also the method to practice or enhance our enlightenment is also 6 parameters. There's no special way after attaining enlightenment. But even 6 parameters, only even after you gain enlightenment, putting the 6 parameters into practice is also, of course, it is at the state when you have already combined with the different level of dharma. But even those virtues and merits, they will start to sink down only if you start to practice them. And also your wisdom will also start to reveal. And also the wisdom and means, or the compassion and the means, or even with the merits and virtue and the actual practice, those 2 things, they are made as 2 because it is not possible to attain it only with one. That's why it is made. That's why it is said that you need both wisdom and the method. And if you ask, is it possible only to have wisdom? It is impossible. Is it possible to have only the method? It's also impossible. Well, if you ask, is it possible only to have only the day? It is not possible. The night and day, they come differently. on different times, and the day only comes to you under the notion that night is also present, and so is the vice versa. Then only the two of them would explain a day. And in explaining the day, well, if you explain it ignoring the night, then you cannot explain what is a day, because the day is not complete. You understand? So the wisdom and the method, the separating the two is a very, very foolish activity. And it is almost similar that you're trying to segregate your palm and the other side of your hand. And even the practice, even though 보조국사 has said he has practiced the two together, the samatha and vipassana. So when you're talking about the extreme logic at times, when we say the individual and the whole thing is different, we could also say they are different. But even for the country, if we say the overall is everything, then you become like a dictator. If you say individuals are the best, then they also follow different levels of social life. And so far, it has never been proven that that's also that leads to happy life. It's same like that. So, in this life, likewise, even the practicing methods, the two of them has to be processed together. So it's either that the samadhi and dhyana has to be practiced together, or the samadhi and the method has to be practiced together, or the sense of the bodhisattva and also the method has to be practiced together. But they're all same, in fact. Did you come here for the first time? Is she your sister? Your daughter? Then I don't know to whom I have humiliated. I don't know who I have humiliated. She looks very similar to you. I thought she was your daughter. I don't know if I complimented the mother or if I have humiliated the daughter. It's nice if you come together. Come with mother. And also it's good to come together. And also it's written here, do together, so if you segregate one part, then the practice itself or the activity itself is unstable. She's from Kumi. Well, this is my joke, which is not so funny, so no one really laughs. Well, if you laugh, that is not a bad joke. And if you go home and if you laugh after a long time, then that's a joke with a very deep intention. And if you just laugh on the way, on the street, then the depth is just as deep as the Hinayana. Well, if you begin your laugh at the time, that's as deep as the Mahayana. And if you start laughing in the morning, then there's not the enlightenment, but we say that's like the tube light. The wisdom, which is insight to Well, when you look at the Buddha's teaching, that everything changes and that everything that exists in this world, they don't have anything that has its own natural property. Even the human, we don't have our human natural property, but in compared to human, we are just a little different. But the difference here, it also doesn't have any of its own absolute property. Then with that as a basis, if you study, then the samsara of the living things living and also dying, it has its basis on suffering. That's why there's no other separate world. But when the suffering extends, the comfort that comes together with it, we call that as nirvana. Then everything happens because of the cause and the effect, and also the dependent arising. If you think about it again, then there is also a different explanation. Because everything doesn't have its own property and they change, we say that's the dependent arising. What is the energy inside? That's the karma. And while doing that, if you ask what laws do they have, then there is the cause and the effect. That's why there is nothing that has its own property or special features, and there's nothing that we can rely on. And double checking that the reality of this of no nature, it is the wisdom. When you say the person is wise, it's not that the person is cunning. It is when I'm looking at some object and if we say, well, this is going to disappear after some time, not too far away, there's no reason for me to have my attachments on it. For example, if we say, if you are born in this world, in order to attain powerful the position, there's such a great fight. But when I look at it, in olden times there was the the bee, the yellow, and when they come to attack, they come in millions, and if something goes wrong, people can also die. Just like that. So when there's a party, which is in Korean, I think they should also say like 땅벌, which is the bee. From deep within, it seems like it's not the 100 degrees Celsius where the water boils, but it's like 130 degrees Celsius. Why is it so? Because they're so full and they're so stressed away. They're going towards the greediness for the power. That's why they're fighting. If the greediness is so strong, then they would kill others and they would fight with others. So in fact, they don't actually commit murder, but they actually shout, "Kill someone, kill that," or you have to cut the person's throat. You have to slit the person's throat or cut this part. Or it's almost like a torture at the Joseon dynasty. When you are looking at things like that, well, that's all very futile things. That's really futile. Not, well, how long do you think that's going to last? Well, not only at the present, but even during the time of Wangon, when there was kings, when Well, even those who are fighting with your life, if you ask them about what happened, then there's nothing more futile than that. So, what is the wisdom? When you're looking at them, well, if there is even this much of your attachment, then you are not supposed to have wisdom. The wisdom will not arise from you. If you have attachment strong for your children, then you don't have the wisdom or ability to bring up your child in an excellent way, because you are ruining your child. Where this is what we say, oh, that person is not wise. When you look at those mothers who had very mighty or great or very successful children, although they have affection, you can see most of the time that they had no attachment. Even the mother of Yusunyo, and also the Admiral Im, and also Yulgok's mother. Who is Yulgok's mother? It is Shim Sa-indang, but nowadays there is a Korean series made on her, and Young is part of the act. Young is playing her role. That's why people tend to misunderstand that it's Young. Well, when I see the pictures, I can see a woman has lived her life in such a fantastic way, and Yugok has come from the stomach of someone so grand, so majestic, and also from her thoughts he has been grown. How can someone like Yugok be born from like a place that's so dirty? Well, you you could have children even if you're very petty, but you also need to know how petty you are. You also need to know if you are playing the essential role or if you're playing no role at all. You have to study if you're right or if you're wrong. So the direct insight for the voidness, so that this doesn't have a property and this is futile, and how deep can you look at it? Depending on that, there's the depth of that person's wisdom. There's a depth of the wisdom. Where is the part where it is not futile? If there is anything that is not futile, then there is nothing else other than the saying that it is not futile. Other than that speech, where can it be? What can it be? Well, even when you live your life, you understand that it's very futile, right? Well, only people living in Yosu answers. It seems like people living in other places, it's not the same for them. Do you still have things to do? Even now, do you have to buy the food or fridge? Or do all of you already have the fridge? But still, I have to live until 92. Seems like you still have those. But then even if you live until 92, the age of the sun or age of the earth, if you compare, then it is not even a dot. It is like 1 out of 50 billions. It is also very futile. Since it is futile, make an observation to the parts where you grow or where you develop your attachments. What is it there that you can actually do? There isn't anything. So the wisdom, which is the direct insight, of the voidness, where the way that we exist is relative. The way that we exist is relative. So, since this world is relative, when you're talking about this world, then there's always the joy and misery, and there's also the right and the wrong. If you study with the wisdom of voidness, then everything is just futile. It is all just futile. So that's why the wisdom of voidness, the wisdom does not have the sense of discrimination. Here, the discrimination refers to the relativity, that there is no extremism, whether this is right or whether that's right, or whether this will be lost if you do this or do that. And when all those thoughts disappear, we say that's the wisdom. And only if you can make an observation of the voidness is possible. So that's why in the Prajnaparamita, it's written that even the 5 skandhas are void. Even you or even I, we also don't have any natural instinct property. What's the need of talking about others? If I have become blind, for example, to say, well, we never had eyes from the first time, then the person who is living with the wisdom of the voidness, well, it is difficult. Maybe it's a little cumbersome to live because you cannot see, but we never had them from the beginning. So the observation of the voidness, you can also see in a way that that's everything about the Buddhist practice. That's very important. And also when that's not practiced, the afflictions will never leave you. Even if you sit down to do your meditation, you have more pain. And also even if you try to study, even if you try to gain more knowledge, that will actually cut down through you, just like the blades. Did you go to monasteries when you were in Kumi? Which monastery? Tori Monastery? Did you study sutras there? Did you study the scriptures? So, it is true that when you are practicing, studying the different methods is quite impossible. Here, the practice refers as the samatha practice. When you are practicing samatha, it is difficult to make an offering. At this time, it is difficult. But the thing that I really want to suggest here is by attaining, by cultivating this samatha, if you have the aspiration that, or if you have the basis that, with the practice of this samatha, I'm going to benefit all sentient beings, or else, even while you are practicing your samatha, you could also turn selfish. Where this thing called human, this thing called living organism, it is very, very, very selfish. It is selfish beyond the words. Well, when you think of it, all of it, even when you're eating, although we can swallow it very well, it's very difficult to throw it out. It's as difficult as money being withdrawn from your bank account. When you take it out, it's very painful. Is it? Well, but then going bathroom to poop, it's very easy. Although it is coming out of your body, it's easy. But then if you feel greedy, then even pooping is not easy. Well, this is actually a very difficult question. The selfishness of human, the selfishness of living organisms, they're very difficult. And because of that, human beings or the organisms, we go through suffering again and again, but we continue to do it. Although we say we are practicing altruism, we still wish for something. So when we bring up the children, even as a lie, you say, oh, I have done this much to you. Are you going to live with me? And although they say, I'm going to live with you, the moment they enter into the adolescence, they say, oh, well, I think about it a little. And when they're about to get married, they say, well, it's not up to me, but then it depends on her. It depends on the thoughts of their wife. At the time, they would avoid it, saying it's the thought of the wife. But then, when you are, but then when you actually want to live together, they will say, "I'll buy you an apartment." They don't like it. But then, verbally, when they're young, they say, well, I want, later they're going to live with you. When you're good to them, they even say that. When you're not good to them, they also say that, well, I don't like to live with you. I heard that kids nowadays, even 7-year-old, they are also very realistic and they also say that. But when I earn money, I will give you some of it. I heard that there are kids like that. Well, that's what I heard. Because the mother kept telling the child that when I age, I have to live with you. But the kid thought about it that, well, but rather than that, I will give you some money from my salary. Can you live alone? And the child said, well, I'm going to live alone or I'll live with my wife. But then women, the female of Korea, they normally give excuse that when you get married, you don't really look after the parents because the ghosts they get confused. If they have that offering of your own family, then they also get into argument with your in-laws ghosts. So they say it's not okay, but they are going to fight less than our parties, so it's okay. But it's important to have the right perception to practice the means and wisdom together. Remember the right perception when you're practicing samatha. The other six parameters. The question if you have to follow up the precepts when you're practicing samatha or not. Well, there isn't much precepts to follow. You're just living alone in a cave. You're not going to go hunting. Well, when you live alone, there are not much things to follow. Well, if you have a dog, then maybe you have to take care of the dog. There isn't much more. And there's also not much to tolerate or be patient because no one is actually making you angry. When no one is making you angry, there's no one who goes around saying that you have to tolerate things. So when you're doing the samatha practice, well, it doesn't really apply to practice the 4 parameters. But despite that, you need to have the thought that you are actually cultivating the samatha for the betterment of all sentient beings. You should never let go of that perception. So even even the fact that you're earning money, Well, if you say you earn money in order to earn money, there is nothing worse than this. There's nothing more petty than this. So here the method has become the motive. So when we ask why are you living, then they say, oh, in order to survive. Then why you surviving in order to eat? If the method becomes the motive, then that's also not okay. Is it? But inside this, not losing your motivation. It's very important to do your practice without losing your motivation. So before you start your practice or after it ends, you can practice your personal the offering or enhancement of your compassion. Well, this is a really good thing, but when we enter into samatha practice, then we really have a lot of restrictions. Then what do we do? When I go to cave to do my samatha practice, well, I'm going to enter my practice, and then before that we make an offering and we go there. And really in Dharamshala, I offer a lot to. I made an offering to many common people, and I also felt peaceful, and also a lot of monks there. They try to help me too, so I feel really good about it. So even if you open a store, when you open the store, you actually give or some good things. The theory is the same. Well, I have opened a store. Even if I lack something, please help me. The sayings are like that. So therefore, even when you're entering into your practice, even someone like Milarepa, he did the same. Even Milarepa's disciple, when he decided that he is going to do his practice, the half he gave to monks and other students, and about 1/3 he kept it to use as his expense, as his expenses. So this you do it before you enter, and after that you also make an offering saying, oh, you have come out. So even you all, even in the family, similar to it. On my birthday, well, thank you for bringing me out to this wall and you make an offering. This kind of mindset makes me happy, and also the relations around me. It doesn't disturb you on your path. So always you need to be selfless, and you also need to have the strong sense of bodhisattva, and you also have to try to contribute. Then only everything will come true. Then only you can study. This will, after all, act as the power of developing the wisdom. Then only the compassion also enhances. And also, this is a way for bodhisattvas to practice the wisdom and also the means together. You have to rely on the supramundane world, and also you have to rely on things like an offering. It's same to what we have said before. Again, through samatha, the wisdom, you make an observation of the wisdom, but through the wisdom that has been observed, it's important to practice the offering paramita as it is. It doesn't have meaning to live your life in the way that you want just because you have gained enlightenment. It has to be together as a method. It is also there in the Lotus Sutra. As the Mujini Bodhisattva says, what is the means of Bodhisattva here? In other words, you experience avoidance. But I'm going to talk about this once again. Listen, the experience of voidness. Well, we can talk about it from two aspects. What is the first one? Well, if I there's the self that thinks that, oh well, this is me, and there's also attachment. And if I happen to be there, then because of attachment to myself, well, the mind that arose is normally three big ones: the greediness, anger, and then selfish thoughts. Those three thoughts, they arise together. This happens because the selfishness is the reason. The first thing, the greediness happens first, something that we call as mine. And then you start to differentiate what is mine and what is not mine. And when you have your selfishness, what happens? If you have selfishness because of your greediness, if this is good for your selfishness, then because I am here, if I have a lot of greediness for money, then money is really good. Then you like money a lot. It happens so. And then you try to have it. And while doing that, the things that's against your greediness, you try to get rid of them. Then you try to do it as per your greediness. But then if it doesn't work, then you get angry. And it's as if, like, if you hate someone so much, and if you think if the tiger doesn't take him away, then you get angry because the tiger doesn't take the person. But then when you're trying to throw, but if you cannot throw that, then you use means. How? Using means, go with your own feet. The person who takes off the takes care of the election, the slot. He said, "Go yourself." Well, because he's inside, he doesn't know how foolish he has. What a foolish thing that he has done. Later, when everything sinks down, he will think that, oh, I've done really something foolish. But if you have done it without any kind of selfishness or any greediness, then you would not have done it like that. When he has put so much blood on his hand, for sure he had been greedy about something, or there was something that he wanted. Then that's where everything started, and then you start to do something stupid. But then when we can see everything, but if you say, well, I'm not really interested, I'm not really interested in all over Korea, but then for yourself, you have put it as number 2. Your greediness has already been there. And when the citizens say you shouldn't be number 2, he got angry and he said, what's the difference between number 2 or number 14? And then he said, well, I'm not going to come to an election from this party. And he got angry. So the feelings of the person, whether the person has a grand heart or not, we cannot feel that. Isn't it? When you scan the political scene, well, you cannot really find someone that you feel that, well, the person seems to be having a great heart, and so that person would be able to the person would be able to cover the whole Koreans. You cannot see any of them. Some people are only big in body, just like me, and some people are even smaller. Well, then you would have problems, and also the inevitable choices that you have to make. Then, because of the selfishness, and also the selfishness, it is also funny in shape. It starts from the shape of eye, and then you start collecting someone who fits your interest or who fits your also wish. Even amongst monks, if something like this arises, then that's really bad. If you move around with people that suits your interests, then you talk about, you blabber. And even while doing that, what do you say? You criticize about other people. And even the believers, they should also see things like slowly and overall, but they are not able to do that, but they just be with someone that they like, and if they don't like what happens, when their greediness fits together, then they like each other, but then the greediness also changes. Then you start not liking the person. So until yesterday, you like the person, but you don't like the person today, and then you go with some other party, like some other you, or, well, there are some people like that. So even that person, and because you're angry, you could have gone together, but that person also doesn't have big hurt, isn't it? The person also doesn't have big hurt. Why? Because even if the person has done so, Well, when I spoke about the social welfare, although I have not said a wrong thing, but it seems like the president is not comfortable about it. So I'm going to take rest this time. But I have not said anything wrong. He could have just ended here, but then also he's angry, and also there is an anger arising. So this thing called goodness. If it's greediness, if you start to calculate if that's a good thing for you or a bad thing for you, or there are also things which are also neither or nor. So normal people, when people say they are believers of Sokcha Monastery, then you wonder, when did I say? Maybe sometime or on the Buddha's birthday. The person is not even interested whether the person comes or goes. So this mind, whether it's good for you or not good for you or ignorant, by this, with the Atman as a center, it keeps swaying. And if the tempo is faster, then they are the mental people. They are the people who are suffering from mental disease. And when you look at those people, they keep moving their eyes from this side to the other. And yesterday, they talk about, oh, yesterday I liked the person so much. And when you listen to it today, then they are like, well, the person is really bad. It's not even easy to say. And when you say you like the person, you say, well, until yesterday. And nowadays, the youngsters are mostly like that, and it will later be the topic of many quarter. Their thoughts, it keeps moving. And also on the way, even when you're living a day, it's always like this, continuously. Shall I do this or shall I do that? Or will it be beneficial this way or that way? And if this is so strong, because this is too strong, even the monasteries should teach people not to do this. The monasteries only try to show you the better way, like this way, and say, well, in this way, you know, all the things that I always say, that if you do this, this is good for you, or like you can also have baby at 80 when you're 80. Well, when you listen to something like that, it really makes you feel happy, whether it happens in reality, whether it comes true or not. But then they do this for you and you're actually happy. And then you buy a lot of those virtuous words, and you also do. And they also give you a discount. Well, in offering this, the greetings card, when they ask, oh, is it not okay to write the name of my mother and with my sister? And they say, yes, it's okay. And then you get 20% discount for 2 people. Well, if that happens, well, I believe that there could be many things that could hurt your sentiments when I do the teaching. But in those monasteries, even if you go, they will never hurt your sentiments. They say that our great bodhisattva has come, and the believer has bought this, the bodhisattva has bought this, and it's really good. And they come so far to bid you goodbye, and they ask you to come back next time. And then those believers, they don't really get concernment from so many places. And when they are treated that way, they feel really happy and content. It's difficult to be treated like that when you only pay about $50. And then they also say, well, our monks, he's the best. But you're just finding a room for consolement. Well, someone has also told me that after teaching, they asked me to pay greetings to the believers. They should pay greeting. Why should I? Well, if I want to do business with it, then I should do it. But you get angry inside. Well, it also makes you angry if you have to put down 100 clothes that you have put inside. In order to sell one cloth, you even tend to lie that you look so beautiful, even if they don't look good when you're selling clothes. And also when you're saying goodbye, well, inside you feel that like maybe they're 60, but when they're actually 50, you also say, well, you don't even look like you're 40, but in reality, they're so fat. You need to flatter, then only you can sell a cloth or two. They also said Sakcho Monastery also has to flatter people like that. But then if I have to if I have to compliment people like that, then I said I don't want to be the head monk and I would rather leave. In order to acquire only the part that befits your greediness or your happiness, you move. And that's also quite funny. Well, the more you're ugly, if they say you're ugly, you get more angry. To someone who is very handsome, even if you say you're ugly, the person says okay, and the person is not interested. And to ugly people, if you say you're ugly, then they get very angry and say, what about you? That's what happens. But you also think about it. When someone tells you that you are ugly, do you get angry? If you get angry, that means you are ugly. And that's why, because you're ugly, after you listen to compliments and also the saying, say, how come you look so young? Or your complexion is very soft. You don't even know that this is all just compliments. You only go looking for those things. And that's the mind or sentiments of the lay people, that they go towards your only the benefits, and that is the essence, or that is the origination of samsara. Should I do this or should I do that? Will my husband bend if I do this or that way? Well, at times like this, I think I have to snap back like this, and since I need money, I need to bend down a little. Where the sound of your head rolling, it's almost like the wheel wheel rolling. What is virtue? What is good deed? You have to stop this movement of those thoughts, making it come to a concentration. You understand? So then people, they don't get so cunning, or they don't even compliment, and they will also not hate. The thought that fluctuates, it disappears. If there's someone ugly, well, we know that that person is ugly, but it's not like you hate that person because that person is ugly. Because I'm also quite good at that kind of things, at situation like this, amongst all of you, uh, I'm also not saying that since you're all ugly, I cannot do my teaching. Well, coming to or making your thoughts uniform is something like that. Then, in order to get rid of all these thoughts, what do we have to do? From its cause, what do we have to do? If you understand that I am void and that there is no true nature, then you get rid of those thoughts. If you understand that there's nothing, then why would you have your attachments? The suffering happens because the suffering happens from the moment your greediness arises, and so you have to get rid of it. And that's why Buddha said this theory itself, the theory itself is void, it's empty, and it doesn't, and it changes. And Buddha has explained that so in such an easy way. When we say we have reached to the voidness of self, the someone who has reached to the voidness, when they have reached the voidness, and if they still have the greediness, then that's a great lie. I don't know if I become like Kim Jong-ok. My voice is the person is really mean person, really bad person. Someone who has reached the voidness, it's not possible to have greediness. This is when I exist as under the dependent origination. This is the act that we make ourselves peaceful. You understand? Does your knee hurt? You can stretch your leg. It's okay. You can stretch it out. Well, when I went to the place when they were laying out the coffin of the dead body, then they were not sorry at all. So there's no reason to be sorry. You can just stretch your legs out. It's good to study, right? You have to study. If you don't study, then no matter how many times you go to monasteries, it won't help you. It won't give you any benefits. Only studying. If only that happens, then even if there is a little improvement, it's a great benefit. Well, don't I tell you all the time when you're studying? First of all, you have to stop the things which are bad and also causes you problems. You have to quit drinking and also throw away the thought that, oh, well, I should eat very fresh fish. And also throw away the luxurious, your craving for luxury. And also throw away the feelings of driving good car. I'm not asking you to throw away the car. I'm asking you to sell the car and use it for a good purpose. I don't want cars thrown to be filling the parking lot in Yosu. Well, even if I say so, I'm sure no one will actually do that. And what is okay, what is the goodness and virtue? It means the fluctuation of thoughts is not there at all. Shall I do this or shall I do that? Sometimes, and if you keep moving your eyes for the Batman, sometimes you lose a lot. You roll your eyes, you roll your head, and you wonder if this will be better or if that will be better. If that happens, then it also causes you suffering, isn't it? It also causes you the suffering. Well, if you have IQ that's about like 160, that could be okay. But even your IQs are below 90, and also it is very difficult to roll because you're not very intelligent. I came to know that the IQ is about like 90 when I went to India. We changed it to dollars, and when we go, we calculate to rupees, and that too. When I wanted to buy the rosary, well, the rosary is quite complex. It's quite complicated. This certain millimeters are about this much, and the other one is about this much, and also how much quantity do you have, and this millimeter has about like how many, and this, and it's very difficult. And I realized that my brain is very weak in compared to Alpago computer. Well, I'm not even able to calculate this. Should I be a merchant next life, or should I be like Yeongja? It doesn't really work. And at times like that, I realize that I am very foolish. So let's not try to come up with some new ideas with brain. That's not even so good. Well, if you keep doing that, then you'll only come up with more sly ideas. So the thing that I hate the most is when I request someone to do something. I like it when the person is doing in a stubborn way, but sometimes they say, well, it's okay to do it like this or like that. And unlike my thought, it has gone somewhere else. And when we look at the consequence, well, I should not actually say anything. I asked them to go to the east, but they already went to the west. If you just change it twice, if you do it like if you just do it like this or that, then you are at the other end. Then I cannot ask a person to change it to different direction. When we ask you to do something, we don't ask you to try something, and if that's not, just leave it. But even if there are many things that I ask you to do after thinking about it for a long time, and if you are not able to understand well, then you can ask many times and do it. But if you just take it for 2 rounds, then it changes, and there are so many of them. If you just move it to different directions, then it changes to something new. Same like when you're doing the reading, if you do not read between the spaces, it changes. My dad has gone to the room, and my dad has gone into the back. In Korean, the words are quite similar, and if you don't use the proper spaces, it's very different. So by concentrating to the meditation, if you stop the movement of your mind or heart, then something funny happens, something very miraculous happens. If you stop that, then well, if you put plus and minus together, then for example, for light, it becomes bulb or the light, and in that process, it disappears. It seems like it is there, but when you stop it, it disappears. You understand? if it disappears, then what kind of phenomenon do you experience? Well, this movement happened because of my thoughts, and if you see it after it disappears, then you also realize that even this hurt doesn't have its own natural properties, but it is also void. So even when you're reciting the mantra, we say Avalokitesvara, Avalokitesvara, Avalokitesvara. So you just try to have one mind, and so you should also try to get rid of something that's different. Like you shouldn't be like Avalokitesvara, Avalokitesvara. Should I make kimchi, or will it be okay if I send a flower to the house? Well, if you do that, then the mantra doesn't get completed. When you have those kind of thoughts, you have to let them go. Well, when you saw the game, there was a game when it was eating something. Just like that, when the thoughts arise, well, they're all very futile thoughts. And those of them, just catch them and make them disappear. And then your heart will have only one heart. Even the mantra you do like that, if you have only one thought, then all the wrong thoughts that surrounded you, they start to weaken and they also start to disappear. By weakening, if the strength of becoming one gets stronger, because it also has its own properties, although it seems like it has become one, if it doesn't become one, then it doesn't disappear. But at some point of time, when you're at 8 or 9 stage of Bodhisattva, there will come a boundary or a borderline where it disappears all of a sudden. Then you realize that, me and even this thought is void. You can check that too. That void, the afflictions or pain was never there from the beginning. You double check it. You understand? And by doing that, if you do your practice, even Atman or even I, well, we can come to know that the 5 skandhas are void. And the thoughts which arose, the feature that they are void, you check it through samatha. And you start looking at the object when your heart is void. And then you realize that there is no inherent natural property. After we check that it is also void, when you see even the objects, you realize that even the objects, they don't have their own natural property. And if that happens, then we can also have the emptiness and also the emptiness of ourselves. The emptiness of Dharma and emptiness of ourselves. What are you writing? Try to organize it very well. Once you go home, then you can study again. It becomes another study. So, the voidness is also the absence of self, and also there are also things without independent individuality. You start seeing things like that. And also, if you have the compassion that's arising from the emptiness or the emptiness of self, then you will have 100% compassion arising from it. There will be 100% compassion. Without that, even if it's compassion, even if we claim it's compassion, there is also affection mixed, and also because of that, although it looks like it's compassion, it's it's like the it's like the spring. Although they say the springtime has come, it doesn't feel like the springtime has actually come. Here, the Sabata refers Sabata refers Samapati like this. Through everything is equal. After experiencing voidness, has has realized that when you are in the voidness, if you can observe all things and realize that everything is equal, we say it's wisdom. Also spoken in Hangmajang. The added effort here of bodhisattvas, and you're putting additional efforts because you know that you're putting it with wisdom. When you have entered into the stage of the practice, the stage of added efforts of preparation, you're already at the advanced stage. Well, it's like when you're coming down the slope, even if you want to stop, it's not easy to stop. You're being pushed, and study also happens like that. And even the study of the scriptures, when you're at this level, even the study of the scriptures at this level. And so from the beginning, it might look like you don't understand it well, or it's difficult to understand or difficult to comprehend. But if you're reading it like 100, 200 times a day, and if you're reading it, if you're reading different sutras, then you could also fall into a bliss, even if you're reading it like tens and 20,000 times. And even if you're reading different sutras, it also becomes like an added practice that you cannot let go. You cannot see other way. It's it's also fun because it also befits the study of your own actual practice. That's why it's also possible. That's what happens. In order to know the wisdom, we also realize that there's no I, and there's no everlasting abiding dharma, and there's no microorganism, there is no life, there is no people. We also realize that. And people and all these things, they never existed from the beginning. They developed as per with the relation. And in Korean Buddhism, we have also said, before Buddha, there was a creation, and before the Buddha, before the cosmos, I was already there. Well, even if there is some other different motivation for saying or claiming that, there is a problem with the saying. And so even the life, it was not there from the beginning. And I was also not there from the beginning. We were born because of the relation, and we are going to disappear as per the relation. So there's also no form for us to have attachments. Everything comes and goes with the relations, and even I has been formed with the relations. So there is no object to have our attachments. If you're looking at its essence, everything comes and goes with the relation. So there's only a phenomenon that's like a bubble, where am I actually, and at what are we going to have attachments, and how are you going to have your attachment? So it's written very straight out in the Prajnaparamita Sutra. We observe with the voidness. There is no form, there is no body, there is no eyes. Everything is not there. Well, even the darkness was not there from the beginning. From my own desire, it started. If the night was there from the beginning, then there's no way the day would come. However, as long as there are sentient beings, the darkness will not also disappear. Even the wisdom, it is not there from the beginning. Because there is darkness, because of lack of wisdom, we also talk about wisdom. If the wisdom was there from the beginning, then we will also not try to attain the wisdom. In the beginning of this Gumlimparapa, if the wisdom is there from the beginning, then it's possible if everything is from the wisdom. If darkness has been there from the beginning, then everything is darkness and there will be no way to overcome the darkness. It's written so. So we have to study this carefully. In order to know all the methods, you have to mature all mankind. And here the mature refers to you increase the level of the practice, and eventually at some point of time, depending on the level or stages of the practice, until everyone reaches nirvana, you mature them. The mature here is you cut down the agony and affliction, and you enable the sentiments for the betterment of all sentient beings. And in order to do that, we go through our own samatha practice and also the vipassana practice. The reason why we are studying them is also in order to mature all sentient beings. And if that's not our motive, then also the practice does not get achieved well or cultivated well. Even in Bangwangyong, for example, if a magician is trying to overcome his illusions, that's because he already knows that it's the illusion. The saying here is very touching. If there's a magician and he built a house out of his magic, but that magician the illusion that he has made, the visionary illusion, because he knows that it's an illusion, he also knows that he can destroy the house. And when he's trying to overcome, it is that he's trying to get rid of it and overcome it. The house is made of magic. Since he's trying to overcome it because he knows that it's the house that's made of his illusion. So likewise, ourselves, because of our stubbornness and also our greediness and all of them, like the story in the Diamond Sutra, all the comparisons are like dream, and if all the comparisons are like dream or illusion, we also need to pay our efforts to overcome the illusion. And it also means we can overcome them. Right now, in that illusion, we have not been able to overcome them. And we think that's our house, and we also think that's our happiness. But happiness never comes from it. And that's the reality. That's why you need to have the sense of emancipation, the thought that you want to be free from it. You need to have the thought that you need to leave that or depart from it. Likewise, as if you're not obsessed with the illusion itself. If the magician says that this big diamond is here, well, if it really exists, then he built a diamond that's like so expensive, but he knows that there's an illusion. He got rid of it, and then the magician doesn't try to look for it and cries over it and tries to commit suicide because he knows that that's an illusion. Because he knows that that's an illusion. Only if that happens. And when we are able to make an observation like this, we say that's the wisdom. When you can observe it like that, then we say it's the wisdom. And so there are some points when the wisdom is playing its role. Well, once a husband died, it passed away. And at the time of the funeral, everyone was like, I hope you go well. But when the body was, well, after the body was burned, there's only body. Oh, there was only bones. Well, if they know that is their husband, when it's very hot, they should pick it up. But they didn't pick it up. They all knew that it is hot. It was very funny. I was looking at it, thinking, are they picking up the hot remainings of their husband? But then they said, where have you gone to? It's very futile. Where have you gone? Leaving only a little bit of the bones. And at the time, you're able to observe it as how futile it is. Well, at the time, for a very short period of time, you could have become Buddha, but you left it. And then the next day, she went to the shop trying to earn money. The world that we live, the awakened world, well, it comes to us occasionally. It comes to you occasionally. That's why, like the Venerable Baekjang and also Venerable Imjae, when they say, who is Buddha? He only yelled. At the time, there's no other thoughts, right? For an instant, at the blink of eyes, it disappeared and it did not last. If it continues, that's very good, but it does not last. So the Venerable Imjae, when you ask who is Buddha, he yells. Because the old monk yells in front of you, they get afraid and they get scared and they shiver. And then he asks, haven't you seen? And then they say, well, I have seen. Oh, well, he passed by like a lightning. for the moment the agony just was there, all other thoughts disappear, and where the confused thought disappear and the thought it stopped, and well, that was only 1 or 2 seconds, but it also disappeared. And afterwards, again, and then you wonder, why is this grandman saying this? And it hurts my ears. And again, the thoughts starts to move around. Where there, you also face this moment. Maybe about 0.1 second, you become Buddha. It's just like on a very heavy monsoon with very heavy rainfall, you just have slight sunshine. There are some times when it shines just like that, but you don't know that that is that. So I also give a comparison. When the white English people went to South Africa, the kids were playing with some stone, and they were actual diamonds, and their eyes it really popped out. But kids don't know that that's the raw stone of diamond. But right now, Venerable Imje has shown diamond, but kids they change with candies. They just change the diamond ring, the diamonds. They change with they change it with the candies, and you don't know about that, and you just go fight with someone else about kimchi or other issues, and then the thoughts they also fly off. So when you practice samatha, we are asking you to recite a mantra with concentration. Korea, are you reciting? It seems like you're not doing it well, but the place of your Buddha where it is really grand. When you want to do something, your grandkids are coming to you, and so you cannot do it. What about you? Nowadays you have a very straight eyesight. Try hard. About 6 people answered. Keep trying. You have to keep trying. Whether it's you or whether it's me, we have to keep trying. Without trying, what can happen? Well, earning money and all that things, they're going to disperse, and you cannot even take it after your death, and even the dogs will not take them. I tell you this all the time. If you give dogs some bones or some check, they're going to take the bones. So it's actually worse than the dog bone. Well, because of the bones, people don't die, but because of money, people actually die. So many people have died. So it's a poison. And also they are very poisonous. If you get addicted to it, it's worse than even drugs. So the person who scares me the most is the person who says, I have earned money with all my life. Well, the person has earned money with all his life. Because of the attachment to the money that you have earned all through your life, how can you let your attachment go? You cannot let it go. Probably you say you have earned with all your life, you have to let it go with all your life, but you don't try to let it go. You want to keep it. You want to keep it. The hungry ghost or the heaven or humans or suras. It's just like an illusion made by the magician. When we were young, the martial arts movies from Hong Kong was really fun. It was really entertaining. The actor Wang Woo, and there was also the movie Some Assassins, and the movie came to the village, and it was in the tent, and the advertisement was really funny. The PR film was really funny. The movie that you cannot see without tears. And so when we go to see the movie, well, the actor who died yesterday was again shown in some other movie, and then we wonder, oh, he hasn't died. And there was a time when we don't know that the movie is an illusion, but we thought that's a reality. And the people who made the movie, people who broadcast them, or people who are showing them, they know that it's not true, so they don't cry when they say it. Although the movie was advertised as it's a movie that you cannot see without tears, but they actually see it without tears. That's because they know that it's an illusion. So when we say we are awakening or awakened, it means we know that it is an illusion. There is nothing else. So nowadays, to me, although people don't even tell me, if people tell me to become a president, I know that there's something in illusion, so I will not do it. But who will tell me to do it? There are so many people who are waiting in line. But in case, even if someone asks me to do it, in case I have no intention of doing it, if you eat a lot when you are dreaming, we could also get cold. Or it is the day that you died in your previous life. It's the day that you died. Sometimes when they have their death offering of your previous life, maybe your offsprings would have prepared so much food for you, and because it's the day that you died, so maybe you come to eat them. So it's just eating a very good meal in your dream. It's just like that. Then for what would you become a president? Well, there's no reason to do it, even if they offer it to you. It's very futile. If you think about it, if you sit and think about it, it's very futile. Well, the conversations here, is it quite attractive? How many years of difference? How many years of difference with you and your mother? How old were you when you had your daughter? 24? So you should be at your healthiest because you had at 24. The children who are born when the mother was 24, they said they are at the healthiest. Is she healthy? You want me to end? Let's end only this one. With the strength of your practice, of your devotion to all sentient beings, the bodhisattvas, they go through samsara, and even despite the fact that they're going through the samsara, there is no problem at all. Even though they are residing in this universe, there is no problem in terms of the power of their practice. You understand? You will have more flat nose. Is it okay? I wonder how you can breathe because your glasses are at the tip of your nose. It's pressing your nose down. We are going to continue in our next class.